Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 19th episode of Shot of Nostalgia as we drive down that beautiful DeLorean road of going back to the future, well, back to the past, if you will, to 1996 WCW Nitros, and this time a Clash of the Champions, right? We got some good shit going on. I am good old Mike Belcaster, and as always, hanging out with me, it's Steve Jean. ACEFIELD, brother. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Live from the No Cell Studios, we are here to review Shot of Nostalgia episode 19, a three-parter, as Mike Belcaster so eloquently mentioned. We have 2 Nitros, 1 Clash of Champions. So much to get into. We really apologize for those that consume us on YouTube for the fact that our intro got cut off. I know it's such a beautiful intro. You guys didn't get to see it. Luckily, it didn't cut off any of the content, just mixed some of the intro stuff, but if you want to see it in full, go on Twitter, go on Twitch. It's there. We promise. We didn't just start middle of the show. It is absolutely there. But Before we get into the newsletter, and I am also, as we speak, downloading the photo of it because I forgot to put it in the intro, full disclosure. I had the pleasure of meeting a fan favorite here at Shot of Nostalgia, here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. The Taskmaster KEVIN Sullivan was live in Bayshore, New York, where he was managing. It wasn't quite the Dungeon of Doom, but it was a faction that was Dungeon of Doom adjacent. And I have to say, he was such a nice guy. And I'm gonna put the picture up here in a second. Such a really nice guy. Took the time to take a selfie. Did not have a gimmick table. Didn't charge any money for the picture. He was just there for the love of the game. And awesome. Outlaw Wrestling, if you guys, like I said, if you guys are there locally and happen to be in the Northeast and you're in driving distance of seeing Outlaw Wrestling, right now they have Crowbar as their champion, who we somehow missed in 1996, by the way. I was texting you about that. You and I were talking about the fact they look like they're like Jack Evans and whoever the other tag team in AEW is, where wears the bright green.
They're not there anymore.
Like him. No. Exactly, yeah. So here's the picture of myself and KEVIN Sullivan. Such a great... Listen, man, he's a legend. And I know we rip on him here, and we have the anti-Taskmaster shirt, but he is he's a huge piece to Shot of Nostalgia, and I felt like it was quite serendipitous that I happened to be in the same building as him on that night. It felt very... I don't know, man. Like, stars had to align for that to happen. And what are the chances that we'd be covering Shot of Nostalgia, WCW 1996, and then only a few short months later, I'm sitting here right in his presence. And again, super nice guy. And it was awesome to meet him. So if you guys ever have the chance to see him, he's working indie dates right now. So it's awesome.
Man. No, it's super cool. Obviously looking fresh as always, but he looks like he was selling insurance for State Farm. It was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. He was managing, like I said, a group of guys that were similar to Dungeon of Doom, sort of had that old school 80s, early 90s flair. Some of the dark character. He's managing Crowbar, who we know is like a Vampiro adjacent type of character. So it was really cool to see him in the flesh. But it was weird seeing him come out because this was out in the back of a brewery. It wasn't quite, the Georgia Dome. They were coming out from like a loading dock where it just felt like backyard wrestling. So had my mind turning a little bit like, he just must really love this thing of that we call pro wrestling.
Hell yeah, man. You never grow out of it.
So as we mentioned, I added this to the art because I had to. I mean, how do I not do that? So you see myself, it's going to be memorialized here on the art. But as we mentioned before, we're doing a 3-parter today. August 12th, Nitro. Then Clash of Champions 33. And the August 19th Nitro. So we have a lot to get into. So let's get right into happy hour to talk about the newsletter and everything that goes on in Dave Meltzer's world, because he's been in the highlight. We talked about him on In the News with Hangman and Punk. Well, he also was there in 1996 to give us all of our news to talk about. All right. As as we continue this journey through 1996, we have our travel guide. It's like I picture this like the Jungle Cruise, some guy with the raspy intercom. It's Dave Meltzer. He's saying, well, here we are here, 1996, August 19th. We have a couple things to tell you. Some of them are true, some of them are not. I just want to let you guys know. On your right, you're going to see a rhinoceros.
And on your left, you're going to... Wait, hold on. And on your left, you're going to see Taskmaster walking out with... I love it.
So, believe it or not, the newsletter is pretty short this week. And I mentioned last week to you that the newsletter seems to be getting shorter and shorter. And I know we were sort of... I mean, the newsletter was the biggest segment of the whole show the first couple of weeks because so much was going on, whether it be with Brian Pillman, Kevin Nash was leaving, Razor was leaving, what's going on with Hogan, what's going on with WCW at large, who's suing who, all a mess. It seems like things are sort of calm right now. There's still drama in behind the scenes, of course, but there's some calmness right now, some tranquility in WCW.
No, it's okay to take a little ease. You know what I mean? You can't be putting the pedal to the metal all the time, or else you're gonna run out of gas. So it's good to fill up that tank again and just kind of ease into it, right?
Yeah. And WCW wound up running out of gas, but 5 years later. But they still that's a long road trip, long damn road trip they had going on for them.
Absolutely.
And when they burn fucking bright. Let's just say that, because WCW, their 1997 is just as good as 1996, and we're gonna get there. Only a couple months away at this point. So we have our tentative top 3 matches for the upcoming pay-per-view in Winston-Salem at Fall Brawl. It's a War Games match with Flair and Arn Anderson taking on Sting and Luger versus... I'm sorry, they're teaming. Flair and Arn Anderson are teaming with Sting and Luger, taking on the NWO. We have Savage versus the Giant, and Benoit versus Chris Jericho, who we will see in these Nitros debuting. Man, it was really awesome to see Chris Jericho here in WCW. And I know he's been here, and you can put the number on how many years he's been in wrestling. But what are your thoughts? And now we're getting Chris Jericho's entry into WCW. Even when he's wrestling AEW, we're going to watch him every week here in 2022.
He'll probably be on Dynamite next week and the week after and the week after that. I mean, he's all over the place. But it's kind of really awesome to say we've been following Jericho's career on a big stage his entire career, basically. I mean, even with his time in ECW, I was watching. WCW obviously was there for that. I was actually in the building when he debuted for WWF. And, I mean, we've gone on to see what he's done with AEW. It's fucking badass, man. And this dude is beyond the term GOAT. He is the Kobe Bryant of pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, and we actually saw full circle of this. The Lionheart made an appearance in AEW when he wrestled Jon Moxley for the championship. So it felt, again, another one of those stars aligning type of thing with 1996. We're seeing a lot of, and I know the Lionheart is more of a ECW type of iteration of Chris Jericho, but we're seeing a lot of that here. He is the Lionheart in WCW.
Absolutely, man. That first couple matches, he was running that Lionheart gimmick until he kind of found his own feet. So I'm happy to see it. I love it. And I mean, come on, we're still going to venues and watching Chris Jericho wrestle. It blows my fucking mind.
You and I will be in the building a few short weeks watching Chris Jericho wrestle, whether it's against Bryan Danielson or they go a different direction in the coming weeks on the build to All Out. I can't wait to see Chris Jericho live in action. But continuing down the newsletter, Steve Regal is expected to win the television title from Lex Luger over the next few weeks, and they'll try to give the belt prestige since Regal has tours of both England and Japan in September. They are planning on taping some Regal matches with the likes of Danny Collins and David Finlay in England and airing them as TV title defenses. So WCW is looking to bring in more wrestlers from England in the coming year, 1997, and also having him work singles matches on the Japan tour and tape them as TV title defenses. This sounds eerily familiar to the All-Atlantic Championship that's being taped on AEW Dark.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, we see you, Tony Khan. Like, your playbook's out here. We're reading it right here. So, the spoiler alert, man, he's a WCW kid.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're all WCW kids at the end of the day. Even if we watch WWF in the day, it all comes back full circle, time and time again. We're 26 years removed from this? It's crazy.
Yeah. So, we obviously have been clamoring for the TV title to be taken off Luger because it's been secondary. Luger's been involved in this NWO feud. Before this, he was tagging with Sting and he was a tag champ. So the TV title hasn't really been defended since really Johnny B. Bad left. And when Luger won the title, it just kind of went away, and now it's just a prop on his shoulder. I'm really excited to see with Regal being the television champion. Of course, I'm curious how they're going to do this for Nitro. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of Saturday night shows. We're probably not going to see it in passing, but I'm sure we're going to see it in the newsletter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, it's good to get it off of Luger by any means necessary.
So allegedly, they were going to put the title on Eddie Guerrero, and you and I were singing Eddie's praises last week. I mean, anytime Eddie Guerrero comes up, both of us are going to be singing his praises because of how great he is. But they were supposed to put the title on Eddie and have him feud with Steven Regal coming up over the United States Championship. However, the decision was changed to Flair keeping the title, and Diamond Dallas Page got himself worked into a program with Guerrero instead of Regal. Has me thinking about matches in the past between William Regal, Steven Regal, and Eddie Guerrero. They clearly wrestled in WWF. I know it happened probably over the European Championship in around 2001 era. You know those guys went out there and rocked it. I have to go seek those matches out right now.
Absolutely, man. I mean, bangers. Absolute bangers. Hidden gems.
Yeah, I mean, Regal's repertoire of matches, and if you go through, he doesn't have high-profile matches in WWF, but I go back to his match with Jericho at WrestleMania 17. Also, I mean, matches all over the place, wrestling guys like Benoit. He's a low-key MVP of that era of wrestling that doesn't get spoken about enough because of his knowledge and his in-ring presence. Like, he was always there as a constant.
Yeah, I love Regal retrospectively way more too.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't appreciating it at the time either. I don't think any of us were. We were just like, there's this guy in the ring. He's British. He's fighting people, but like, god damn, man. I mean, he puts on some of the best. I mean, we've covered some really, really amazing matches already of his, and like, how do you can't just put that aside. The guy's got a fucking great tenure in the business. Amazing work rate. There's not many better than William Regal, Steven Regal, the Lord himself.
It's amazing to see Regal and where he's come and where he eventually went and that villain gimmick he had in WWF. And he's willing to play that goofy comedy light character and be the butt of some jokes. We saw Jericho pee in his tea, kiss Vince McMahon's ass. He's willing to do whatever it takes to get an angle over. And I think that's what separates him from a lot of the different talent that have this big ego about not wanting to do things. It seems like Regal, nothing really was off limits. He's open and willing, and at the same time, the work rate was never sacrificed.
Yeah, he's a man. He's a real man's man.
Yes, he is. Oh. He's a man. Such a man.
This is my favorite theme song. That'll be my guilty pleasure of the Attitude Era.
He was two of the worst gimmicks ever placed on a guy. Steven Regal has, I mean, again, there's horrible gimmicks in wrestling. We go to Mantar, and Mantar comes at gobbledygooker. Like, obviously it's not that bad, but to be giving a stereotypical British colonial type of gimmick and then go to WWF later on and get this working man gimmick where you're cutting wood in the woods.
The lumberjack, man.
He was happy to be just Regal from Blackpool, England, eventually.
Yeah. I love it.
And I'm happy that Finley's coming back. He's been gone for some time since the Regal program a couple months ago, so I'm happy to see he's coming back. I hope to see him mixed in here a lot because he was a highlight of Nitros that we were watching.
We love our Finley.
We do. So Ted DiBiase starts at the end of this month, while Jeff Jarrett won't be legally available until the first week of October. 123 Kid will start as soon as Titan signs off on his release, which is now pending via fax. So Ted DiBiase, we know, free agent. I think they probably expected him to make more of an impact than he did, but I wanted to pick your brain about it because you were watching at the time. Do you remember it being a big deal when DiBiase crossed over, and were you disappointed to see how he was booked and how he was presented?
No and no. I could give two shits less about DiBiase coming over. He didn't really add too much to the value of anything, but also it wasn't a terrible spot to be put in. He was listen, everybody's got a price. He was making money, guaranteed money, damn it. And it was interesting. I thought it added a little bit of flavor to it. It didn't take away from anything.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, DiBiase, they probably looked at him and he has the lineage and he's tied with WWF, and they probably like, oh, this is the perfect other guy to come in. But when you watch him in WCW, and every time I see him in the past, I've seen him just with the NWO, I don't think WWF. I don't know why. There's something about him where he just feels like a character that's out of place in WCW, and I think that's what probably was his demise as far as booking goes.
Yeah, listen, like I said, it didn't take away from anything. It didn't add that much to it, but it was still, he was a good character. It was good to see him kind of there. And I didn't think $1 Million Man. I just thought it was Ted DiBiase, the guy. Listen, young me knew it was the $1 Million Man, but I still, like, thinking about how I thought about it when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, cool, he's here. Like, it wasn't, there was no bad sign about it, no minuses. It was all pluses. I was just like, okay, cool. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's one of those signings that you look at and say, he was just signed based on just because he was there. And we can make some argument about All Elite Wrestling with Tony Khan. Some guys are just signed because they're available, like collecting toys that you like. And I know that comparison's been made, and WCW was guilty of that for sure. And I know Tony wants to follow in WCW's footsteps in the good ways, but you also have to avoid stepping in those potholes and stepping in those bear traps that Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan and Dusty Rhodes had stepped on before, and learn from the past. Don't repeat it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
All right, so Diamond Dallas Page wants to do a deal where he would be the Stevie Richards flunky to Ric Flair, but Flair is said not to be hot on the idea. Flair would in that scenario be Page's benefactor, since they started a benefactor storyline with no idea where they would be going with it. This obviously never comes to fruition, but very interesting comparing it to Stevie Richards. And I picture Stevie Richards back in ECW and how over he was. I wonder, we obviously know he becomes the People's Champion in 1997 and becomes one of the hottest acts in wrestling. I wonder if it would have helped, expedited, or maybe hurt Diamond Dallas Page to be tied to Ric Flair in this way.
I think so.
It probably would have hurt him, you think, right?
Yeah, I think Page kind of had his own path to walk, and he did a great job doing it. I don't think he would have been anywhere near as over if he did it any differently than he did.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I think about this, every week we're watching Nitro, it seems like the Diamond Cutter is getting more and more over, where he's going out there and doing the same routine, but it's becoming consistent and something that the fans can rely on, and they're popping for this finisher. And I think they know they have something with DDP, where they probably didn't know. We watched in the beginning, he was like a deer learning how to walk in the beginning of this run through 1996. Was wearing disjointed outfits, didn't look like Diamond Dallas Page. What's his gimmick? Is he just... It just feels very odd. And I think now he's finally coming to his own. You can see DDP like shedding that skin and becoming very comfortable with who he is. And we're only a few short months away from him catching fire and being one of the hottest acts in wrestling.
Yeah, we will feel the bang.
Well, someone will. I don't know if we will, because we'll be not in 1997, but maybe we'll visit back to WCW, because it's going to be very sad. I know you and I were talking about what it would be the next couple seasons and planning Shot Nostalgia out. I know we announced ECW 1995. We have obviously ideas about what season 3, season 4, season 5, and 6 would be. Man, I'm going to miss WCW. Like, I feel like this is a nice, warm, cuddly blanket that I turn on. I have consistent things to watch. It's like your favorite TV show ending. I kind of don't want it to end.
Yeah, man. No, I feel you there. But you know what? It never has to end, because we're going to be here covering something always.
True.
And it's going to be some good shit, and I'm looking forward to whatever the future brings, man.
All right, so here we have tickets for Halloween Havoc in Las Vegas are going on sale at the end of this month. The local Utica, New York baseball team has bought a show from WCW for the early fall, which means they're going to be doing a show live from a minor league baseball stadium. How do you feel about that, Mike Belcaster? Do you remember any sort of, maybe it's a house show, I don't know if they ever aired this on TV, but I'm sure we'll see in the results.
I don't think they did air that on TV, and if they did, I'm the least biggest fan of baseball stadium shows. And that listen, even we heard Punk kind of talking about, hey, we should do All Out at Wrigley Field. It would be cool, but being outdoors, heat, lots of people, ridiculously expensive beverages, drinks, food, everything like it. Nothing adds up to me going, man, I really want to go to this. It doesn't matter what's on the card, but yeah, it's weird. Fall's a good time to do it because it's still kind of cold. There's no baseball going on. You don't got to rearrange your schedule. But man, it's a hard sell. We've seen TNA do some baseball shows. What was it? Global Force Wrestling? Am I right there,
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett? Nothing but baseball shows. shits. I'm great on it.
Well, as far as, different baseball shows, I think the most notable one in my brain that was a success was WrestleMania 19 from Safeco Field. I remember that being it doesn't feel like a baseball stadium, to your point. It feels very enclosed and very on top of you. I don't know. That's just Safeco Field. I think Seattle they built that stadium with thinking the fans would be very much on top of you and be a home field advantage. Obviously, the Mariners have not been good in recent years. They're pretty good this year, but the stadium is built for doesn't feel very open-ended like Wrigley Field does.
Yeah.
But I think back all those highlights. I mean, the famous Hogan-Andre match at Shea Stadium here in Queens, New York. I just think about and it looks awkward because they put no padding down. It's just them on like the middle on the pitcher's mound. But I don't know. It has me thinking about baseball fields and unique venues. WCW seems to be tapping into that market where WWF is so content to run the Manhattan Center and very content to run their, MSG, familiar arena shows that feel comfortable. WCW, you got to give them at least some credit here. They're running these places that are unorthodox, gives them a different flair and sets them apart from what WWF was doing. And I like that. And I think AEW needs to lean more into that. We talked about the unique venues like the Jericho Cruise, and I want to see a goddamn pool party at some point. I know the summer's coming to an end here, but
there's always Florida.
Or go to Australia.
Yeah, right.
They did the
freaking some love.
The beach break one in Cleveland or whatever. That at least they lean into the goofy stuff like that.
There's no beaches in Cleveland. It doesn't make any sense. But at least they're trying. But yeah, I was a big summer concert kid in my teenage years. Ozfest, all that kind of shit. Warped Tour. I loved going to those things, but by the time I was like 25, the novelty of it all wore off. And being, sweaty, hot, feeling like dog shit by the time 9 o'clock hits at night. They're great, but it's just like a big meh. Like give me unique venues. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the summer. Do a fucking winter show at Soldier Field while there's snow on the ground. Make it fun, man.
Grow some balls, Tony Khan. Go to Soldier Field in the winter.
Yeah, the Bears are moving out. Somebody's got to utilize that goddamn play.
What are they doing with that stadium now that the Bears eventually moving out? It can't be torn down. It has to be used for something.
It's like a landmark. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with it. And it's so close to the convention center. It's just they have to do something.
I mean, they tore Yankee Stadium down here, so who knows? Like,
maybe Triple H will take it over. It'll be WrestleMania at Soldier Field, and then not a bad idea.
I'm into it, but I mean, they did WrestleMania here in Jersey, outside at MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania 29, and then also I think 35 was the last one here. Yeah, they could do it here. It'd be cold. I remember it was raining when I went out, and it was cold. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm outside for WrestleMania. But last thing here in the newsletter, just want to talk about the wreath of flowers that was sent. Obviously, we talked about last week, sending condolences to the death of WCW sent by the NWO to Luger and everyone that picked it up in the limo. Allegedly, according to Meltzer, this was a copy of something Jim Cornette sent to Jim Herd years ago. For real, though. Jim Cornette, the Savage, sent him just flowers. My condolences for your whatever. I don't know if it's like a booking thing or a promotion going under or just a rival thing. That sounds like Jim Cornette, does it not?
Damn it, it sounds like Cornette.
Do you have a Jim Cornette
you're done.
There you go.
Yeah. Take some flowers, fucking mourn your stupid bitch-ass company. I ain't here for it anymore. I'm going to get a cheeseburger. I'm out. I'm done.
Corny, can you lead us into Get Your Fix while we review WCW Nitro from August 12th from Casper, Wyoming?
God damn it, Casper, Wyoming. You guys better check it out. It's time to get your fucking fix. Brian. Just got to do a whole episode as corny one day.
please do. We'll just pick whatever. Like when it starts to get pretty bad, we'll do WCW 2001. You can be Cornette the whole time.
Oh, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. We'll just do the Sin pay-per-view. We'll do a watch along and I'll just do commentary. They broke Sid's fucking leg, man. Like, what are you doing?
Oh man, I've never in my life seen Wyoming on a bill for wrestling. I mean, this is WCW, baby. We're in Casper, Wyoming. I saw a lot of goddamn Hog Wild shirts. So people went from South Dakota to Wyoming. I don't know if it's this way. It might be this way. It might be this way.
Depends on where you're sitting.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Casper, Wyoming. The Event Center, August 12th, 1996, WCW Nitro. pretty cool. WCW is running markets that WWF will never even touch. Even today, WWF will never go to Casper, Wyoming.
No, Tony Khan will be there next week for Halloween. We're doing Halloween Havoc at Casper, Wyoming.
Tony Khan loves WCW, and I see you, Tony Khan. I understand why. I get it now. So if you ever want answers to why Tony Khan makes the decision he does, go into the book of Eric Bischoff. And it's funny, Eric Bischoff rips on Tony Khan. That must kill him because he loves Eric. He has to.
No, I think Bischoff's just mad that Tony's doing it better. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Because he's keeping himself off screen, probably. That's also part of it.
That too. He's not a commentator.
Right. So our current WCW champs are as followed. Obviously, our WCW World Heavyweight Champion is Hollywood Hogan. He won it back at Hog Wild August 10th, 1996. Our U.S. champion is still Ric Flair. Won the title back on July 7th, 1996. Our tag champs are still Harlem Heat. They flip-flopped the titles back at that house show, but they officially started their second reign in the course of 2 months. On July 27th, 1996, our TV champion, but not for long, is Lex Luger, who won the title back on March 6th, 1996. And finally, our Cruiserweight champion is Rey Mysterio, who won it back from Dean Malenko on July 8th, 1996. Those are our champs, Mike Belcaster.
Man, that Malenko Mysterio match, so goddamn good. So goddamn good.
Everything Rey Mysterio touches in 1996, and we're going to talk about another couple good Rey Mysterio matches here in the next 3 shows. He's on fire here, and I appreciated him throughout. Most of my memories for him, obviously, we talked about Halloween Havoc 1997 against Eddie. Ooh. Most of my run with him is through WWE and watching him debut off the cage on SmackDown and his matches with Edge and obviously Kurt Angle and only winning the world title. I have such a bigger appreciation for who Ray is as a competitor.
I was there for his title win in WWE. It was awesome.
WrestleMania 22.
Yeah,
right?
It was such a beautiful, beautiful moment, and unexpected. It really was. I went into that I was expecting Kurt Angle to win, and you got little Ray, and it was beautiful, man.
That was when I remember. Chicago was kind of brutal to him a bit. I remember he was getting booed because people, Chicago's a tough sell for some of and Kurt Angle was the guy. People loved Angle.
Yeah, no, listen, and that is probably one of the most underrated Manias. Not a lot of people talk about Mania 22. It was a fun fucking show.
Cena was very good. You got that Flair bump off the ladder at Money in the Bank.
Foley, Edge, Vince and HBK. It was great.
Spirit Squad appearance too.
Yeah, it was good stuff, man.
Shot in Nostalgia 2006.
Dun, 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 dun. Ready for it, man.
It ages very well. I have to go back and watch it. But were you booing Rey Mysterio, or were you cheering for him? Be honest, the young Mike Belcaster.
I had cheap seats. I was probably I was with my wife, so I must have been at least 18. So I wasn't super young. I was still a baby, obviously, but a little older in the thing. I think I was just happy to be in a WrestleMania. That was my second Mania, and one of that I was there. It was the last big show I went to with my dad. It was a really fucking wholesome moment. I met Hillbilly Jim in the parking lot. I was just so pumped to be at a Mania, man. And I'll dig some photos up. I look like a goof. I had long black hair, dyed. It was very, very emo, but I wasn't dyed. The roots were showing. I look like a fucking goofball. I had a Mania jersey on. I still got the Mania jersey. I'll wear it if we cover that year. I'm wearing that Mania jersey as my suit coat.
I think we might have tapped into something a little bit. I felt like a little. When I when I watched 1996, I felt a little twinge in my stomach. I felt very tied to WWE 2006. So that might be where we go. I know everyone wants us to go 1997 WWF, but 06 might be underrated. I know it's Cena's run as he's burying people. But there's a lot of good shit in 2006.
You got a young CM Punk dressed in Mafia gear on that entranceway.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great Mania, man.
All right, well, speaking of good wrestling, we have Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko leading us in. Larry says, I think I'm in the middle of nowhere, and Tony tries to find a positive even when there isn't one. This was a really good opening segment, and Tony Schiavone is awesome. And again, they're really establishing the first and second hour as two distinctly different types of productions. Obviously, the camera work is the same. Everything looks the same. But Tony and Larry have really developed a good chemistry over the course of, I think at this point, 6-7 weeks that they've been splitting up the announcers. They feel like they're really coming into their own.
Yeah, no, Zabisco's got that just, I don't know kind of like mentality. It's just, he shits on everything. It's the best. One of the best underrated heel announcers, I think, of all time. So good.
He definitely doesn't get his just due. So this, again, you think about Zabisco, you think about the bad stuff people say about him online as far as being an announcer, but there are good parts. There's a reason why he's employed here in WCW during one of the better years. Definitely, him and Mike Tenay add a lot to the broadcast when they're on.
Yeah, I even loved when he was on commentary and he was part of the feud with Scott Hall. I think that's one of the best feuds that came out of the NWO was Zabisco and Hall. It was so fucking fun to watch. Really good. Really, really good.
So our opening match was not really, really good. We have Ming, Barbarian, my friend, my good dear friend Kevin Sullivan, not in tights, wearing, somehow he looks like Mikey Whipwreck's shirt. He took it out of Mikey Whipwreck's bag, and these weird acid dyed jeans, boot cut, and Hugh Morris. Jimmy Hart and Big Bubba come out with him. So I have to just show the picture again of Kevin Sullivan because I'd have to remind myself he is a very nice man. So even when we're talking about the matches and he's not really something I want to see on my TV here in 1996, especially in jeans. Why? Like, you were just wearing tights the week before. Did you forget your bag? Someone has to ask Kevin Sullivan. I should have asked Kevin Sullivan, goddammit.
He should listen. He probably rather had a luggage issue or somebody played a rib on him, threw his little tote bag, his fanny pack in the garbage that was holding all of his clothes.
He didn't go even like the hardcore Holly route where he would just wear jeans. He committed to the look of just like, I'm in my streets, I'm going to stand on the apron, like, and wrestled in jeans and a tie-dye Mikey Whipwreck flea market spray painted shirt, whatever the fuck. Like, go and look at this shirt, guys.
Yeah.
So obviously we get Kevin Sullivan and crew getting the win here. Ming hits the kick of fear, and Rough and Ready turn on High Voltage after the match. So who really cares? This was a weird opener. It was very random. 2 minutes and 55 seconds. You know, this is the Dungeon of Doom is rearing its head again here in 96. I thought they were done with this.
I think we're like a sneeze away from them never being in our existence ever again. So I'll take the good with the bad. There's been a lot of bad, but the good news is that they're almost over.
And so we have Sting and Luger coming out to interrupt, and Lex can't talk very well this evening. He's at a loss for words. He was never a promo guy, but this seems like one of his worst nights that he's had here. He hands the mic over to Sting, talks about screw all the controversies at Hog Wild. They want Hall and Nash right now. The Outsiders don't show. So maybe there's some heat, like CM Punk called out Hangman Page. Maybe the Outsiders are quitting WCW.
Maybe everybody's quitting WCW. Who knows what's going on? You could say Lex is a bad promo guy, but nothing's as bad as that promo before Uncensored this year, where he's talking about how he's from Chicago. And it's just the fucking worst. He didn't even know what he was talking about. He's like, yeah. He's like, I love Daytona, Chicago. It's the best. You're like, shut the fuck up. Sorry, Lex. I love you, buddy.
Well, sorry, Larry. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah.
So if you want to take the lead here with DDP and Renegade, more of the same, but you want to just take the lead here.
I'm just going to talk in Diamond Dallas Page voice. Listen, bro. I came back there, flipped out, did a suplex into a diamond cutter with the bang. 1, 2, 3. This was too long. It was 5 minutes, 46 seconds. DDP is good. He's just not there yet. He wasn't at that point where you're like, man, I'm behind him. He's not rocking the jeans and the constantly broken ribs that he was doing for the rest of his career in WCW, basically. And fuck Renegade. Who cares about the Renegade?
They're at least like changing Renegade's gimmick over to being more of a standard wrestler away from that Warrior ripoff. So he still does some Warrior isms in the ring where he's like, shaking ropes. Yeah, exactly. Wearing tassels, but he doesn't wear the face paint anymore. He doesn't do Warrior's moveset. He's, we saw him in that Jobber video package from, I don't know, where they were on the beach. I think it was right before Hog Wild. It was like a Nitro, the go home show before Hog Wild. They were all, somehow the Jobbers get this like hype package, which was bizarre. But hey.
Somebody's got to get one.
So the next segment here, we had the NWO in their dressing room. And if you guys want to see this in full, I had shared this on my Instagram. So you see Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan. And what I had said, the chemistry between these three guys is very evident here. I mean, every time they're on screen together, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash feed off each other. But I don't think people mention enough how Hogan really was a good compliment for the goofiness and the silliness, but also bordering on the seriousness at the same time. What makes Kevin Nash and Scott Hall so good is that they can turn it like that. And they can turn a scenario where they're joking around and making lighthearted jokes into they're going to take your head off. And Hogan's right there as well. He seems like you would think it wouldn't work because they're from different eras of wrestling. And Hogan, and think about Hulk Hogan and Diesel teaming in WWF. It would never work, right? It just feels wrong. But this just feels right. This was a great segment. They showed the belt being spray painted. They're talking about how the fourth man is behind them, asking, do you want to come out? You want to come out? Do you want to come out? And they didn't come out. We know it's going to wind up being 123 Kid when he's available, but Titan has to sign off on his release papers.
Yeah, they do a good job at playing the like mafia type guys. You got your two goons, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, who do get serious. You know, they'll break your legs when you're fucking around, but they're also, you know, they'll go out and drink with you too. And Hulk Hogan's the guy sitting at the head of the table, like, brother, let me tell you something. We're the New World Order, brother. And like, it's got that vibe of like, you don't want to fuck with these guys. They are the Vegas Mafia, you know. You're like, it's like, okay, wait, we're not going there.
100%. We get a WCW Saturday Night promo, which is worth watching. Do not fast forward through this. The Four Horsemen will compete in an 8-man tag, and the Giant will be there to wrestle somebody. Really, really awesome. Check that out. I always love watching the Saturday Night commercials. They're very nostalgia-driven and cheesy. I'm sure at the time they looked really high-tech with all the different like machinery moving around and like them x-raying a body. The
wrestling figure arm look that
exactly.
they show all the time.
Like highlighting on the elbow at the time, like, this is so cool. This is the best.
That's how they made their toys back then. You're just showing clips of it, you know.
That's the face scan they used to do for the Jack specific figures. That's why Road Dogg doesn't look like Road Dogg, guys. If you're wondering why Billy Gunn and Road Dogg don't look like themselves, is because they scanned the wrong person. Yeah. All right, so we get a heel Conan taking on Jim Powers. We get no entrance for Conan, who feels like he turned heel randomly, and he talks about it after the match, after getting the win over Jim Powers in 3 minutes and 22 seconds, puts his feet on the ropes. He actually hit a Mr. Wrestling 2 knee lift, which I thought was cool, a nice little homage to wrestling history. Conan's really great in the ring here. I love his look. Apparently, he turned heel because of Hulk Hogan's actions. That's the only reason why. That's what he said. I'm turning heel because of what Hogan did, but he also is siding with WCW at the same time. So doesn't that make him a face by association with not liking Hogan? Because Hogan's just feels weird.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Steiner math, but in promos.
Yeah, exactly. So he says he's pledging allegiance to WCW, but he's still going to break the rules. And we saw this from the Nasty Boys too. I like that they're actually making a distinction between WCW. There still could be bad guys that are associated and want to fight for the brand, because it'd be very, very boring if you only had whatever. If it winds up being 6 NWO guys, whatever it was going to be from the original spot, to all these guys being faced on WCW, like the Alliance and during the Invasion angle. So I like that there's a nuance of bad guys still associating with themselves with WCW and holding that banner.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to have your heels within your umbrella. You know, you can't all be good guys in WCW just because the NWO's there. You have to have that extra little bit of seasoning there.
You want to take the lead here with Chris Benoit taking on Ron Studd. I wonder who wins this match.
Man, so Ron Studd fucking comes out looking great here. So
this is the Yeti, by the way, if you didn't know that. Ron Studd is the Yeti.
Shit.
Yes.
That's unbelievable. He should have stayed as the Yeti. This is a very not high rated Nitro so far match, work rate wise. Benoit obviously great, fun to watch any Benoit match because the dude just puts his all into it. But still, very short. It was 3 minutes. Benoit's a badass, but it was still not that good.
Benoit can carry anybody, but he just couldn't carry Ron Studd to a good match. Benoit's legit. We know that at this point. And they're even hyping him up on these shows as he's arguably the best wrestler on the planet right now. So they know what they have with Benoit. You know, they don't pull the trigger on it because of reasons like we talked about with Eddie last week, just Control-C, Control-V, all that stuff, because we know that Benoit can have the work rate. His promo never quite gets better, but, you know, Benoit puts Dean over as a excellent technical wrestler after the match on the microphone. He keeps talking about how he wasn't good enough to beat him, and he continues to talk about how relentless the Horsemen are, and says that they're going to be taking over WCW, and they're not going to let NWO do their thing. So we know his mic skills aren't great. I do like they're giving him time presentation-wise, that they're actually presenting him as a threat for major titles. I thought the match wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. 3 minutes and 32 seconds, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can make the Yeti good. But
no,
this was actually something that, you know,
it's nothing
helped.
like you would buy a ticket for, but it's something. It was good filler. It was better than Diamond Dallas Page and Renegade. I would totally give it that. So stick it out. It was totally worth the while.
So we move over to hour number 2. Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan take over. Heenan asked Bischoff, "Why didn't you show up last week?" And he said he had some business that needed his attention, and that's all there is to it. And he continues into WCW World Tag Team Champions taking on Rick and Scott Steiner. I got the Steiners on my pin right here. So Harlem Heat defending their championship here. There are 3 rematches from Saturday's pay-per-view from Hog Wild on this card. So, and we're going to get back-to-back of them. So Harlem Heat takes on the Steiners. It is a DQ finish. The Steiners get the win here. 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Rick chases Parker into the ring, who trips over Booker, and Scott give the Steiners the win via DQ. The ref absolutely saw what happened, made the call. Afterwards, Scott Steiner stomps Parker's hat while the Harlem Heat get all up in his face. So we get more of Colonel Rob Parker and Sensational Sherry just being in the background, being at the forefront of a really good wrestling match. There's no reason they have to be getting involved. Commercials in the middle of the match, sort of a disjointed presentation. Definitely not their best effort between them. Obviously going 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Their match at Hog Wild was light years better than this. You're better off just putting Harlem Heat against a jobber team if you're going to do something like this.
Yeah. No, I'm not for Sherry and Colonel Parker being there. I'm good. I get them off my fucking TV. When you're trying to when you got 2 great tag teams together in a match, why take away from it by adding goofy shit to it? Because that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's goofy shit.
They're doing the stuff with we just had sex type of thing. They're madly in love, and they're touching all over each other, and the camera keeps finding them while the action's going on in the ring, and it just seems, again, disjointed. The focus should be on the work rate between these 4 guys, because these are 4 of the top tag team technicians in the ring at the time. The Harlem Heat has such a presence about them. It's just a shame that it's overshadowed by a gimmicky type of bullshit that is happening outside the ring. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and there's time and place, and this definitely was not the time.
No, 100% agree with you, man.
We do have a shot of nostalgia. I know you have a nice drink to take over there.
I filled up. I figured we were doing 3 shows, so we better get good and ready for it.
All right, so shot of nostalgia here for the DQ finish. Cheers. All right, that leads us into another rematch here. We have the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Rey Mysterio defending his title against Ultimo Dragon. They call him Ultimo. They show the graphics say Ultimate. Don't know exactly how they're presenting him. I know he's Ultimo Dragon in Mexico and in Japan. He is the Ultimate Dragon here in WCW. Tell me about this match.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You were talking Rey Mysterio, obviously Cruiserweight champion for a reason. Guy's top tier work rate guy. Ultimo Dragon is a fucking beast of a wrestler. I never once seen him and been like, it could have been better. He comes out and he fucking delivers so damn good. And this is no exception. I thought it was really, really great. A lot of back and forth action. Obviously, your little Ray is your champion. He's the winner of the match with a beautiful, beautiful sunset flip. And it wasn't a long match. It was 4 minutes and 34 seconds, right? So it was good stuff. It was really fun. I could watch these guys wrestle for hours.
Yeah, and it was really well done. 4 minutes and 34 seconds feels like it's not enough time, but they just had this match. They went longer to open up Hog Wild, and this was a quick, tease for what else is to come in the Cruiserweight division. And I think the Cruiserweight division can go long or short. Each of these guys feel like they're on an equal playing field, that any of these high-flying moves can catch someone off balance. And even in a losing effort, Ultimo Dragon comes out looking strong because a sunset flip just got him. It feels like these matches just end quickly, suddenly. Yeah. It's just a very, very good booking decision as far as having these guys, because it just feels like D. Malenko can beat Ray on any day, and Ultimo Dragon can beat Ray on any day, and D. Malenko also can beat them as well. And then you got Psychosis in the mix, and Eddie's in the mix. The division is flawless. It's one of the better divisions in wrestling history.
Yeah, and one of the best parts about the Cruiserweight division is like they had that element of surprise for finishes. It wasn't always their, Ray doing a West Coast pop. It wasn't always Malenko putting them in the cloverleaf. They won with roll-ups sometimes. They won with sunset flips. It kept you going, holy shit, like I have to watch it because I don't know what's going to happen. That element of surprise never really left the screen.
And it's a breeding ground to test finishes for bigger matches, and I think they were using that to test a lot of different things and as a litmus test for what the audience will tolerate and what they enjoy. And I think over time, the Cruiserweight division got really over, and it became a staple of what they were doing, and we're seeing that and the trust in the Cruiserweight division to be a large part of the card and what they're selling to not only pay-per-view buyers, but to TV viewers. You're going to see this high-flying action you cannot see anywhere else. In America, at least, because obviously we know Japan and Mexico are delivering lucha action, every time they go out there. But this is 1996. You don't have New Japan World. You don't have YouTube to watch AAA.
Yeah.
This was, again, mind-blowing to people. They had never been exposed to style like this unless they traveled abroad.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. You hit it dead on the center of the nail, man. It's crazy to see how, when you do shit like that, it changes the product that much, because you go from these random matches and you get this kind of solid ass work rate, and you get invested into it. You're like, man, I want to see what they're doing next. I love the Cruiserweight division. I think WCW did that better than any American company, that even to this date. Like, it's hard to argue that,
Absolutely, and I think, like I said, it's used as a breeding ground. And at the time, they probably didn't have the utmost trust in it. But I think it became what people came to watch WCW live for. You had to see these guys in action. Of course, you come to see big stars, but you knew each of these matches will deliver. And I can't think of one Cruiserweight match that we've seen in the past 7 months that has not delivered. And that's something to be said, because there's a lot of duds as far as match quality goes here throughout every year in wrestling. But here in WCW, it's very apparent that the work rate was not the focus. And that's not always, that's not a knock, but that's just the fact of where we're at in wrestling.
No, absolutely.
Next match here, we have the WCW US Heavyweight Championship on the line. Ric Flair taking on Randy Savage. The rematch from not only Super Brawl, the cage match, but we also have the rematch from WrestleMania 8. These guys have a lot of chemistry. If you read Ric Flair's book from back in the day, he talks about their chemistry and the fact that Randy Savage was nervous about wrestling and he needed to have every spot booked. It seems like this is not the same type of Savage that was wrestling him in WWF. This seems like he's a little bit more relaxed, very sure about what he wants to do. He's leaning into this ballistic character that is angry about everything. And I think it would have resonated a little bit better if NWO wasn't going on at the same time, because they're doing the Pillman gimmick with him where you don't know what to expect. But I also think this was strategically booked, that they want people to really hate Ric Flair going into the match against Hogan too, because I think they want people to have two heels against each other at Clash of Champions, and I think they don't want people turning Ric Flair face at Clash of Champions, despite it being, I guess by default he would be the better guy because he represents WCW.
Yeah, no, 100%, man.
So this match goes 9 minutes and 13 seconds. We get a Hogan appearance, and he hits Savage with a chair, which was a decent chair shot. I know that Hogan gets a lot of bad rap for like delivering chair shots and taking chair shots in a very weak way. hit him right in the head. You know, this was a time period where they didn't put their hands up. It was looked at as weak to put your hands up to block a chair shot, even though that's the logical way to actually book something like that. Because if you see a chair coming, you're not going to stand there and put your head down. But that's exactly what Macho did. So just as Savage starts to lift Flair up, Hogan drills Savage with the chair. And Nick Patrick, that shady, shisty referee Nick Patrick that's in the pocket of the NWO, is in the ring checking on Randy Anderson. Hogan gives Savage a chair shot to the face and rolls him back inside. And Hulk completely ignores Flair as Woman and Liz help him the back inside, which leads the announcers to talk about, is Flair with the NWO? Because Hogan didn't get involved. Flair covers Savage with his feet on the ropes. Despite the chair shot, Flair has to still put his feet on the ropes and cover him. We have to figure out what's going on with Flair and the NWO. They were teasing this. I think they were leaning into it, and maybe they wanted people to think, holy crap, Ric Flair is gonna join the New World Order, and that would have been freaking weird.
Yeah, I love that they did tease it, though, because it gives you the element of anything is going to happen with the NWO. You were always unsure about what was next. It fucking shook you to the core, you know? So imagine a Flair in NWO. Would have been fucking weird.
As the fourth guy, too, but think about the superpower, all the stars, the four of them. It's like a Mount Rushmore of wrestling. You know, and one more guy out there. It would be definitely a different booking style to have Flair there, because I think X-Pac or Six or 1-2-3 Kid, however you want to call him, Sean Waltman, is the perfect addition because he doesn't take away the shine of these guys. He just kind of blends in the background. If you had Flair, I don't know. I think Flair is a huge star, and it probably would have cut the knees out of WCW way too soon because they needed someone on their side. If he goes, who else is left?
Absolutely, man.
So speaking of Hollywood Hogan, he comes in for an interview with Gene Okerlund, and just want to mention the T800 Terminator NWO shirt is just perfection. Gene asks, why did you help Flair retain the title? And he said, when I wiped the floor with him at Clash in Denver, he doesn't want to hear any excuses for the beating. After Hall and Nash take care of Flexi Lexi and the Stinker tonight, and Hogan defeats Flair at the Clash, Flair will be then known as a stupid little man instead of the Nature Boy. Hulk Hogan, dude, that's all you came up with?
I remember Flexi Lexi. Very, very thorough.
I like Flexi Lexi, and I like the Stinker. But then you go with stupid little man for Ric Flair. Like, there's so many play on words you can do with Nature Boy.
Yeah, no, it's your typical Hogan not really knowing what to say, but saying something. You know, you stupid little man.
It kind of worked in Hogan's voice, though. Let's be honest. It did actually kind of work. Maybe I'm just in love with heel Hogan at this point. It's just similar to Nick Storm during all this WrestleMania before our time. He's like, if you guys have followed Nick Storm at Nick Storm Review on Instagram, he's having an obsession with Hulk Hogan. I think it's kind of unhealthy. We might need a Turnbuckle Tavern intervention for the Hogan obsession he's having. He has Hulkamania. I have heel Hulkamania. I love NWO Hogan right now.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the summer of Hogan for Nick Storm. No whole barred action figures. You know, you got before our time. He's fucking he's living the dream, brother. He's saying his prayers. He's taking his vitamins. What you gonna do with Nick Storm Review? Runs wild on you.
And guys, stay tuned. We have before our time following us, and you guys saw WrestleMania 6 last week, but you guys will be seeing WrestleMania 7 this week. So make sure you guys stay tuned after this. Tune into the Turnbuckle Tavern. Stay with us. We have Flashback Friday continuing. They kill it before our time. Does a great job, and they will deliver more action. WrestleMania 7, Sergeant Slaughter Hogan. We also have Macho King in a retirement match against Ultimate Warrior. Two very great matches from the Trump Plaza. American themed. I'm curious what they do with this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
So now it's time for our main event. Michael Buffer leading us in. We got Sting and Lex Luger versus Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. To be clear, Michael Buffer is not leading us in, but it is time for the main event. We get a no contest. So we do have to take another shot of nostalgia. I'll give you guys the deets a little bit about what happened in the match while Mike pours his shot. We were told the beginning of this match, beginning of the night, the main event would be the Giant facing Arn Anderson, but we get this instead because we're live and things can change when you're live. The Outsiders not coming through originally when their music hit. Bischoff and Heenan are freaking out. And then here they come through the crowd making an entrance. And this was something, we saw Luger do this at Nitro. Other than that, it's not really done often in wrestling. I know the Shield kind of patented it. Edge did it for a bit in the late 90s. But coming to the crowd really adds to... They don't want to be here. They're not coming to the locker room. They are definitely outsiders. And I know it's like, hyperbole to say that, but they are outsiders.
It's a good vibe, man. I fuck with it. It's a good aesthetic.
So Nick Patrick is the referee for the match, which tells you there's not going to be any order. You know that he's in the pocket of the NWO at this point. He's a heel referee. Sting saves Lex and starts dishing out Stinger splashes. He misses one on Hall thanks to Nick Patrick yanking him out of the corner. And here come the Horsemen to chase the Outsiders back to the crowd. And now the arena while Nick Patrick runs to the back. Awesome segment. I loved it. It was a 4-minute match, I guess, because everyone left. And this is what they should have been doing at Hog Wild, because this is more of the chaos that you would expect from people that actually don't like each other. If this were truly outsiders, this would be happening every time they're out in the ring. They'd be chased to the back. So Gene Okerlund grabs the Four Horsemen for an interview, and they're teasing a Four Horsemen versus NWO match for War Games at Fall Brawl. Flair says that Nash might be a little too big for him, but he should try Mongo on for size. Style and profile, Horseman style at the Clash. And we're so glad to be out of the MGM studios, baby. This was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Goofy's ready, man.
Let's take our shot of nostalgia and then give me your thoughts on that ending segment, because it was chaotic.
Ooh. Jameson orange, by the way.
Oh, beautiful.
If you're a whiskey guy, the orange flavored Jameson is very good, especially a little chilled. Yeah, wild ending. Not hog wild, but still not road wild, but it was still good. Yeah, I like the kind of having Nick Patrick in the back of the NWO's pocket, being the shady fucking referee, totally screwing around everybody. Tease all of the Horsemen for a War Games match. I'm fucking here for it. This is one of my favorite pay-per-views. I cannot wait until we get to it. But just the fact that we're on the road to it, it drives me nuts. I'm so fucking pumped for it.
and we timed it so perfectly. I know you and I went over the schedule when we first did this, that we knew we were going to start hitting some marks where we would like line it up, because we're doing 2 a week. It really winds up being very close to where we're at right now. In the time of year, when we hit Fall Brawl, it's going to start to get a little crisp in the air. Kids are going back to school. It feels like fall, and nothing like doing Fall Brawl. And then near Halloween, too, I think early October, we're doing Halloween Havoc. Starting to get good here, man. It's starting to get good here in Shot Nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I'm ready for it. But Fall Brawl, not just Fall Brawl, but this Fall Brawl coming up, I remember it in my brain that the cage door shot from hell is coming up, and I can't fucking wait to see it again. I'm just so pumped to rewatch it.
I can't wait either, but before we get there, we have to go to Clash of Champions 33 from Denver, Colorado, the Denver Coliseum, August 15th, 1996, and this is 3 days removed from that Nitro that went off the air. A lot of content WCW's putting out. This was a pay-per-view quality amount of matches, titles on the line, treating Clash of Champions as special. I know we give Battle of the Belts with AEW a lot of grief, and we talk about how Clash of Champions isn't always a special event. This one was. They put a lot of hype into it. You saw the build throughout the last couple weeks. They mentioned it on TV. They want you to watch this here on TBS.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And we have different hosts as well, different combinations. We have Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan doing the announcing. So again, trying to make things a little bit different. And we know the Chads are saying on the flagship about how to change Battle of the Belts for the better and make it more unique. You could just start with the announce team and some of the graphics as well. The entrances feel different. It doesn't feel like Nitro. Despite it being a WCW show, it does not feel like Nitro.
No, it's got like you said earlier, it's got a pay-per-view vibe. You know, it's a very quality presentation, very quality show. You got different hosts, which adds that element to it. But I mean, a very quality wrestling show as well. Which as compared to that Nitro, this is fucking miles above it.
So we're going to start with the opening match, and some of the matches we're just going to read the results for because they're not worth going into, but this match is worth going into. It's the WCW World Cruiserweight Champion, Rey Mysterio, taking on Dean Malenko. This match was awesome. 9 minutes and 29 seconds. A lot of near falls. Dean Malenko, we talk about it, just every week, how great he is. He goes out there, and his work rate's such at a high level. You could tell Rey's really learning a lot from working with him, not only here on these shows that are televised, but on these house shows. We keep seeing in the newsletter that Rey's working with Dean on these house shows and getting the exposure. They have this this connection in the ring where everything feels flawless. I mean, going to some of these spots here, Malenko launches Ray high on the middle rope. He springboards back onto Malenko, trying to wheelbarrow, arm drag him, but Malenko blocks and goes for the reverse suplex. Mysterio then flips out, trips Malenko for an awesome roll-up for a bridge, a two count for a near fall. Malenko puts a temporary end to Mysterio's flying around with a knee bar. He rolls through the ropes through. Mysterio escapes another chinlock. Non-stop action. These guys are just go, 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 go until we get to the end right here where they were brawling over to the corner where Malenko stops Ray up top and brings him down with a super gut buster. I don't know how it doesn't break your leg. I don't know how it doesn't break Ray's ribs. Covers him for 1, 2, 3. Ray had his foot on the ropes and Malenko thinks he's won, but no. We got the false finish. Mysterio victory rolls Malenko up for real. The ending was a little bit convoluted because I think they could have sold it for a second more so people realized what was going on. 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Did Ray ever have a bad match in the 90s? Like, this was fire. This was so good.
No, listen, he was like, this is the perfect storm for a comeuppance in pro wrestling. Like, I mean, even for Dean Malenko, you got really, really good wrestling. I mean, you can't catch your breath when you're watching this shit. Even you reading it and just talking about it, like I'm picturing everything in my mind again, and I'm like where's the stop? Like, there's no rest periods in these matches. It's just bang, 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 firing full fucking cylinders, man. So goddamn good. And Ray, unbelievable. Dean Malenko, probably one of the most underrated wrestlers of his generation, man.
Man, does not get the credit he deserves. And even we say this every week about him when he's on our screen. You forget how good he is. He just has this knack for having this connection and fluidity with these other guys and matching different styles. And he's a smaller guy. He's not quite the high flyer himself, but he's every bit as agile as Ray is in a different way. And locking in the submission, it's such a good contrast. It's like peanut butter and chocolate coming together. Yeah. And you have Ray with the high flying and the ground and pound from Dean Malenko, but who can go up there and do his damn thing from the top rope? It's just perfection. These guys rocked it.
Hell yeah. No, 100%, man.
So the match next up, I'm just going to leave you the result for this. VK Wall Street, a.k.a. IRS, Mike Rotunda defeated Jim Duggan. An unnecessary rematch. We're going to get it again on Nitro, so maybe I'll give you more details about it. Duggan gets pinned after VK Wall Street grabs a handful of tights. Duggan looks upset in the ring, making weird faces. 3 minutes and 49 seconds. If you are looking to, go to the bathroom, get a snack, fast forward through, this is the match to do it. Not great.
Yeah. Nobody needed this. Nobody wants this. They are not before their time. They are past their time.
Please go away. So Conan defeats Ultimo Dragon in this next match here. This was a short match if you want to go through it for us quick.
Yeah, man. No, it was just a little back and forth. Wasn't that good? You'd think for a match with both these guys, it would have been so much better. And it was just a really odd finish. Conan, did the pull trunk roll up and got a really cheap, shitty 1, 2, 3. I mean, 3-minute match too. Not even 3 minutes. It was just meh. Like I hate pulling the hawk card on here when we do it, but meh. Like it was okay. I feel shit. I don't remember Ultimo Dragon having shitty match. Like, and this wasn't saying it was bad, but it was nowhere near as good as quality as I was expecting out of both of these guys.
And the highlight of this was obviously Mike Tenay at ringside giving some details about Ultimo Dragon. We talked about the week before where Ultimo Dragon at Hog Wild was painted as this larger-than-life superstar, and he painted the picture of why Rey Mysterio and Psychosis and Ultimo Dragon have a history together. This felt like he didn't even get enough time. Like 2 minutes and 58 seconds is not enough time to even formulate an idea and give the fans a chance to digest this. So I don't want to say it's a bad match because it doesn't feel like a match at all. I would love to see these guys get 9-10 minutes to go out there because both of them are high-quality workers, as you referenced. There's really nothing on here that felt, memorable, I guess. I mean, Sonny Ono at ringside gets involved a bit. Dragon hit the mood assaults. I mean, Conan seems like he's a little bit lost here turning heel. I think, he needs to get back on track a bit.
Yeah, and he was on such a good run, too. Every time he was out there, he was delivering. That's it. Just felt like a really off night for him, and it was the same with Dragon. It was I don't know. Maybe they didn't work well together, but I mean, give these guys 7 minutes. I think it would have been a much better, way better match than it was.
So our next match here, we have Randy Savage supposed to take on Ming, who is coming out with Jimmy Hart. So I'll give you the choice here. Technically, it's a forfeit. We'll take a sip of our drink, not take a shot, because there's other DQs. It is a forfeit due to Savage's chair shot beating from Nitro, thanks to Hogan, which was the one chair shot, by the way. He can't show up to work. Ming gets the win via forfeit. Tony and Bobby Heenan are showing the chair shots from Nitro. The rest of Dungeon Doom joined Ming and Jimmy Hart in the ring for an interview with Gene Okerlund. Sullivan said, told you so, and about Hulk Hogan, and talk about everything going on with him. Every time these guys speak, it's about Hulk Hogan, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And Gene tends to agree with him and says that Hulk's acting on Thunder in Paradise was certainly no threat to Sir Lawrence Oliver. The Leprechaun makes an appearance as he runs through ringside like a crazy drunk. And the Horsemen NWO aside, the Dungeon and Doom is the most powerful group in WCW, according to Kevin Sullivan in his dreams. But I'm going to take a sip here.
Yeah,
I would have liked to see Savage and Ming to go at it, though.
I would have absolutely loved it. And if we keep going at this rate, we're going to be Bobby Heenan at Hog Wild. We're going to be slandering people. We're going to be talking mad shit. And I'm not against it. Goddamn.
All right, so I'm just going to give the results for this match here. Medusa defeats Bull Nakano, and again, the Hog Wild rematches continue. Half of the card that's been shown on free TV since the pay-per-view aired 5 days ago, so it's not really going to make people want to buy the replay if they're really trying to rely on the buyback nature. An okay match. Short. Bad finish again. They feel these two women, again, we talked about them at Hog Wild and about the match being just whatever, awkward, whatever the word is for you. They don't have any chemistry. I feel like they're the only two women in this division. Can we work with somebody else? Can Medusa and Bull Nakano stop working together? I'm done with it.
Oh,
I'm done.
Good. And Sonny Ono doesn't help. It does not help at all.
So here we have Gene Okerlund interviewing Ric Flair and the ladies. He talks about he's 13 times a WCW World Champion. He's going to be a one-time NWO champ. Woo. It was a really good interview. I wanted to mention it. He talks about how Hogan can change his name and his look, but the desire to be the best at what they do is always there. Flair couldn't turn on his best friend, and now neither can Hogan because he has no more friends. Really good. I liked Ric Flair in this backstage segment.
I did like the tease that I'm going to be the one-time NWO champ, because it kind of like makes it more official, legit about the belt and stuff like that. And it's not like it wasn't at the point where he's like, I'm bringing the belt back to WCW. So the war itself wasn't already there to the fullest. You know what I mean?
100%.
I really sound like Bobby Heenan now, don't I?
It never would have been. I don't know. Maybe at the time people thought it would be known as an NWO championship, but maybe then they were nervous that it would be, or fans that are thinking it's kayfabe. They probably thought like WCW championships no more, and the lineage is going to be separated. It never quite was that, but there was a chance, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it planted the seeds, and like before Sold Out happened, before they actually did that NWO full takeover, you were kind of getting this vibe of like, is this where we're going with this? Because it's like, I'm interested. Like it draws eyes to the product, man.
So next here we have Eddie Guerrero taking on DDP. If you want to take the lead here, it is another short match, but I mean, two guys that are pretty legendary, former world champions.
Yeah, listen, a short match, but a better match than what the hell else we had going after Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko. So I'm here for it. Good stuff. I mean, Eddie Guerrero looks fantastic. He comes in there. You get Diamond Dallas Page coming in, looking better than he did on Nitro. But, I mean, he's not going to take down the king of Latino heat, brother. Eddie Guerrero gets that frog splash that we grew to love and respect so damn much for the 1, 2, 3, almost a 5-minute match. It's still really good. I thought it was very enjoyable, man.
So supposedly this was for the Lord of the Ring, but I don't think they exchanged it. Like they had said it during the match that it was on the line, but I don't know if Eddie gets to the ring, and I know the ring is for a title shot that they won back at Slamboree, and I know the all that, I don't know, doesn't exchange. I think it was on the line, but it's not. What I really liked about this match, obviously Eddie gets the win, as you mentioned, with the frog splash, pretty clean. Afterwards, DDP shakes Eddie's hand, pulls him in, gets hit with the diamond cutter. The fans are starting to really get behind the diamond cutter, and despite in a losing effort, he still gives the fans what they want, the diamond cutter. The ref comes out, hits another diamond cutter to Eddie, and that brings out Chavo Jr. as Page sets up Eddie to the top turnbuckle for a top rope super diamond cutter, and he hits it on him. Chavo gets shoved away. He's distraught. This is going to lead up to DDP and Chavo at Fall Brawl. We don't know if Eddie's the new Lord of the Ring. Who knows? But this was cool. I like this segment. We get the association with Chavo and Eddie for the first time on TV. And the diamond cutter looks brutal. I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie's off TV for a little bit because of the super diamond cutter.
Yeah, that super diamond cutter was my favorite finish in all the video games back in the day. Like, you just set your guy up on the top rope, you hit your special, you flick your thumbstick on the N64, and he would literally let the guy, pull him off and then drop him down. It looks so good. Deadly. Made you go, holy shit, that was a lot more impactful than the diamond cutter, which everybody was fucking falling in love with then. I love that variation of it, man. It was super cool. I was just thinking, like, how Orton hits the RKO, like, unexpectedly.
Nowhere,
How awesome would it have been if he hit Eddie with that during the frog splash with the diamond cutter? People would have lost their shit.
I don't know if DDP had the capability of doing it. And I think that, and I was going to ask you the question.
It's true, too, yeah.
You kind of got the question out there already. I was going to ask you, and I probably know the answer already since you are you're more of a WCW guy than a WWE guy. What do you prefer, the diamond cutter or the RKO?
Ooh, I think it's one of those situations you have to walk before you can run. I think if there wasn't the diamond cutter, that RKO would not be as impactful or as exciting as it is. And Randy Orton obviously elevated that finish to a whole different level, and to a point where you pop harder, like when Seth does the curb stomp. That was I don't think you can get better than that. Evan Bourne doing the flip off the top rope, and Orton really utilized the element of surprise for the move. Not like DDP didn't, but time evolved. But I mean, Orton fucking nails that shit so well, and aside from breaking his wrist doing the pounding on the ground.
You don't like the Johnny Ace Crusher? You don't want to give Johnny Ace?
I don't like anything that the Ace Man brings to the table. Maybe not even the Bella Twins. I don't know why my Johnny Ace is Canadian. I have no idea, but he is. He's just I love maple syrup and Bret Hart matches, man.
Guys, put in the chat what's your favorite version of the finish. RKO, diamond cutter. If you want to be a troll, tell us the Ace Crusher. We know you're lying, but just say it's the Ace Crusher and get it out there.
This Ace Crusher.
Yeah, I'm the Ace Crusher, baby. So we have Hogan. God, yeah, I'm people power. God damn it!
Fuck yeah!
So Hogan is pulling a Gene Okerlund out to the entrance ramp by the collar. He tells Gene he better watch what he says. This was a bad promo by Hulk Hogan. He confuses himself when he starts talking about Babe Ruth and Michael Jordan. He refers to Flair as a stupid little man. He starts to rough up Gene Okerlund a little bit. I know no one actually gets physical with Gene, but this was the most I've ever seen it. Like, had me thinking about other announcers getting involved and getting beat up, and the Attitude Era, no one was off limits. Like Kevin Kelly would get the shirt pulled over his head, and people would get hit. Mean Gene was sort of off limits, so Hogan doing that was really, it's upsetting to watch. So I feel like it was a good heel move.
No, the WWE stand-up movement would have nothing to do with this, of Hulk Hogan being a bully to little Mean Gene. But it looked good, but Hogan, I mean, he's got to get his footing on these promos, because the last two have been the shits. That stupid little man. Listen here.
We got to give him some leeway, only because he's been cutting these promos that were just, at this point, autopilot. These promos that he was out there, and America and the Pythons, and I'm going to overcome and take your vitamins, say your prayers. Now he has to be a heel. And of course, the Bash at the Beach promo has me thinking, we're lucky that promo happened, because it was actually good. Imagine if it was like, him calling everybody stupid little men or something, and it became a bad promo.
It's true.
Execution was there at Bash at the Beach, and who knows if it would have gotten over as big as it was if he's cutting these really shit promos at the biggest moment. But luckily, we don't have to talk about that, because it's, history wrote itself for us.
It's a very good point.
We have the Giant defeating Chris Benoit very quickly, 23 seconds. Benoit, we were just talking about being booked like a main eventer. This is woman distracting Benoit by accident, taking the vest off, and then Giant hits him with a running drop kick and then hits him with the chokeslam. And
massive one.
This chokeslam was massive at this point, holding him up there for quite some time. Not only was the Giant's arm fully extended, but he jumped up in the air. It was incredible. It was one of the best chokeslams I've seen Paul White do ever. Like, this was a really good chokeslam.
No, it's easy when you're such a big guy and you got a little fish on the hook to kind of throw around. Like, imagine Giant versus Ray. It'd just be murder. You know?
No, well, yeah. I mean, we did get that. I mean, think about the 2-pack WCW San Francisco Toymaker 2-pack, right? The Giant and
I still have my little
with the
Rey
head that gets
Mysterio.
extended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So our next match here is a triangle match for the tag titles. It's Harlem Heat, Sting and Lex Luger, Rick and Scott Steiner. Would you like to take the lead? Give us the finish here and talk about everything that went on here.
Yeah, I'm going to go right with the finish. Scott Steiner looks like he's about to get Booker T away. You know, he hits that Frankensteiner, which we love so damn much. And Nick Patrick stops the count at 2 and calls for the bell because he's that prick, that dirty fucking prick in the back pocket of the NWO. I feel so bad for Nick Patrick. But he was asking for it, man. But yeah, so it's a DQ in a six-way or a 3-way tag match. It's all
makes
fucking
no
well.
sense.
You got
so he
this bad
essentially
booking.
says there's a DQ because Hall and Nash were attacking people on the floor, which means a DQ is in order. Technically, it's a no contest if you really want to be technical here because they attack members of all 3 teams. They kept the hard camera on the ring the whole time while it was going on, so we didn't get to see it. Patrick calls for what he's done over the past 5 days unfortunate incidents, like a guy, like one of those umpires or the NFL referee that make a really bad call in a big game. Like, I know they're trying their best here, but this again didn't make any sense. You cannot call a DQ in a triple threat match. It's just not possible.
It's Nick Patrick in a series of unfortunate events. Oh, man. Listen, it played the character very well. I will give him that. He didn't feel scumbaggy until this all started happening. And then, the more you kept seeing shady shit, you're like, man, I really don't like the way this fucking dude is. And, you really believed into it. So, Nick Patrick, I'll motherfuck you all day long. But nothing but respect, man. You did a great job.
Nick Patrick, if you're out there, you want to come on Shot Nostalgia, we'll talk to you. I don't know what Nick Patrick's up to. I know he's not working with WWE anymore. But we have another Shot Nostalgia to take for this no contest DQ, whatever thing that Nick Patrick wants to call it. An unfortunate event. That's what it is. Wow. Well, that leads us into our main event of Clash of Champions. The belt, as we know, has the NWO letter spray painted on it, but the Giant's nameplate is still there, which I feel like is a nice touch because it's very insulting to the Giant. That is, they didn't even have the time to put Hogan's name on it. It's just Hogan's holding his name as a prize. You know, it's like carrying a lock of his hair after he defeated him. This match, we talk about the history between Hogan and Flair. This is the dream match that never was at WrestleMania. This was definitely not WrestleMania worthy if you want to go with that big stage. 8 minutes and 3 seconds. We get another DQ finish. Chaos again. Tony and Bobby are convinced Hogan gave up in the figure 4. But so much to unpack here. We got Mongo, Sting, Luger spilling out. Hall and Nash come out. Hogan was in the figure 4, desperately trying to get out before Hall and Nash came out to break up the hold. Hogan gets up once the hold was broken by Hall and Nash and starts stomping on them. This match obviously is a DQ. There's no other finish you could have here. It's the U.S. champion. It's the best the WCW has to offer. It's almost the right decision to make it a DQ finish. Doesn't make it less disappointing because I wanted more from this match. But at the same time, it delivered in a lot of ways with the chaos at the end. I do enjoy 2 shows in a row, absolute chaos, and really setting the tone for Fall Brawl. And you want to see these guys get their hands on each other in a cage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It will deliver. That's the thing. These short weird fucking matches. They eventually do pay off, but you really have to follow the story with it.
So, but like the previous clashes of champions that we've seen here, nothing was done that wouldn't have been seen on Nitro. So it's not like you had to watch this. It's not essential for you to follow the storyline. Similar to Battle of the Belts, similar to Rampage, you feel like you could still follow the sequential events of the storyline if you don't watch Clash Champions. That shouldn't be the case. But when you advertise Hogan and Flair, you have to give them credit that they do deliver on the match. They do have them lock in the ring. They go all out for 8 minutes. It is a DQ finish, but you do put your biggest stars of the company on a show that wasn't Nitro, not a pay-per-view. It's a free event. This, to me, delivered. I thought this was, despite some bad finishes, some rematches, an extended version of Nitro that you might want to call it, I thought this was a lot of fun, and it advanced storylines enough for me to make it worth watching.
Yeah, listen, it kicked off really well. There was a little shit fillers going in there, but it still ended with an impactful kind of moment. And listen, if you're just tuning in and you're like, wow, this Clash of the Champion thing's on, you didn't see Nitro, this was good. This was really good. You got a good feel of what WCW was presenting on a weekly basis. So I thought it was fun, and like I said, we're full track going towards Fall Brawl. So let's fucking go.
And the legacy of WCW began on TBS, so it feels like they want to honor that relationship by giving them quality wrestling. So despite TNT being their flagship network for Nitro, TBS still holds a special place in their heart. I think they're still honoring that. They don't want to throw out just, a garbage card. They went out there and they tried. Give them some credit. They gave pay-per-view matches away here on free TV, on TBS. So, again, look at parallel nature of AEW and WCW. There's so much that you can talk about with Battle of the Belts. And you have to think, if Battle of the Belts is 2 hours long, they probably can deliver a little bit better and be able to do something, because an hour is so short. Imagine if this card was an hour and we only take that first hour that we got here. Just cut it in half. It just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the same
work.
show.
Yeah, it wouldn't work at all. It would just be like, and you'd be left wanting more in a bad way.
Well, we're left wanting more in a good way here because of the chaos going on. We have WCW Monday Nitro, August 19th, 1996, from the home of Conrad Thompson, Huntsville, Alabama, the Von Braun Civic Center. Woo! All of our champions are the same, despite title matches all over the place the last 2 weeks. And we open up with Jim Duggan versus VK Wall Street after Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko lead us in. And I'm not even going to give it the justice of talking about the match. Duggan gets his win back from Clash of Champions. They went from doing Hog Wild rematches to now doing Clash of Champions rematches. And out of all these matches, why would you choose to rematch this match? Duggan is all over Wall Street to start. As I mentioned, the tape fist punch of death for the 1-2-3. But just to be clear, the referees don't tolerate you taping up your fist, but they will let you hit somebody in the face if you do manage to tape up your fist if he's not within reach. So I understand no one would want to check Duggan's tights before the match, but at this point, it's his goddamn finish. Let's check his tights.
Yeah.
Nick Patrick's already on our mind. Let's treat the other refs with the same sort of suspicion at this point.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's fucking weird, wild stuff. So yeah, I give it 2 shits down.
All right, so Gene Okerlund grabs Jim Duggan for a comment after the match. They talk more about the New World Order. Randy Savage interrupts and promises to tear Hogan apart. He's back. Tonight, Randy Savage battles the Giant. He's mad at the Giant because he couldn't get the job done at Hog Wild and lost the WCW World title to Hogan. That's the beginning of their feud that we're going to see at Fall Brawl.
Ooh, yeah.
It's an insignificant feud. Like, why don't Randy Savage continue to go after Hogan if you're still mad at him? But I guess I'm okay with it. It gives Randy Savage some purpose here on the card. And the Giant, let's not forget, he just lost the title. He needs something to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess good spot to put him in. Give him Macho Man.
So give us the lead here with Chris Benoit with Woman Elizabeth taking on Earl Robert Eaton.
Man, do I have to? No.
You can give us the ending, I guess. You guys know what happened. Come on.
Yeah, Benoit's got the beautiful headbutt. That's how he finishes it for the 1-2-3. I don't want Earl Robert Eaton on my TV. I had nothing going into this. It was just like, why, man? It was just blah. But it was good. Benoit did need the win after Clash, so it was good to see him kind of get in there, do some good moves, then just kind of get out of there. And like I said, to hell with Earl Robert Eaton, man.
Agreed. It seems like the Blue Bloods are going to be splitting up, and Lord Steven Regal wants to chase some singles titles. As we mentioned, he's on the docket to win that TV title, so when you see Robert Eaton disappearing from TV, and that may not be such a bad thing. So we have the flashback to Clash where Nick Patrick screwed the Steiners out of regaining the World Tag Belts. In the locker room, Gene Okerlund has Sting and Lex Luger for a comment on tonight's surprise. They talk about the relationship between them and the Horsemen and say nothing about the surprise. So again, more hype for later in the night. And we lead into Scott Norton defeating Disco Inferno in 4 minutes and 1 second. We get the awesome shoulder breaker and sets up a flashback. Arm breaker DDT from Scott Norton. They're pushing him a little bit. He locks in the Fujiwara armbar for a very fast submission. So Scott Norton, after breaking up with Ice Train, there's a little bit of a push here.
Yeah.
There is in the crowd, I want to mention this, a Where's Glacier sign. So
it's the best part of the match for me.
Someone several seats down, though, had I'm Glacier sign. So I don't know if they knew each other, but it popped me and it was awesome.
I hope so, but you know what? I hope not. I hope they were two random fans that just were like boom, boom, and it was just magical.
So we also have the aforementioned Lord Steven Regal in action as well, taking on Dean Malenko, and this match was better if you'd like to talk about it, my friend.
Yeah, no, this was some hard hitting, good shit, and a little bit longer than you would expect for Nitro. So I was happy they gave it a good, loud time. Again, you see two these guys are built from the same breed, and I mean that in the best way possible. Malenko and Regal are very similar in their in-ring style. Both came from different upbringings. Both have like a different art style in the ring, but they very intense, very they got their shit together.
You're methodical. Everything has a purpose for sure. I know exactly
you're not watching it and you're like, oh fuck, these guys are just too much similarity. No, this is like when you put peanut butter and jelly together. You get the best of the best. This is a good fucking sandwich, man. 7 minutes, just shy of 7 minutes. Oh, Dean Malenko gets a roll up, and 1, 2, 3 on that William Regal, man. It's so fucking good. Sorry, Steven Regal, different guy I'm thinking of, right?
Completely different guy.
Yeah, but it's so good. It was. I can't get enough of Dean Malenko this year. Like I just want. I wish he wasn't all fucked up nowadays, and he could still do this like Jericho could. Because I would love to see Dean Malenko in the ring with some of these younger, newer talents.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking rolling them up at the Texas Cloverleaf. Nobody does the Cloverleaf anymore, man.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you can do with just 7 minutes and maximizing your time out there, because you have cruiserweights going out there and it's nonstop. And Steven Regal steps his game up. I know he's not a cruiserweight by any means. He's, I guess, stereotypical mid-carder here in WCW, but he steps his game up when Malenko's in the ring. You can tell that Regal's up for the task. He's probably being pushed. And even in a losing effort, I know he lost to a former champion in his own right. At this point, Steven Regal is looking great on his own. And it's the perfect way. And WCW has this weird way of pushing people in losing efforts. And I know that's like not the way WWF-minded people have seen things in the past. But this is how they push people. They take other former champions to the limit. And sometimes that's good. And I think this is an example of it.
Yeah, it was good, hard-hitting pro wrestling, man.
So we have the Four Horsemen coming out for an interview concerning Sting and Lex Luger. They're cut short by the fireworks for the second hour, so they didn't even finish the whole interview. As for Hogan, Flair's got more playing time than he's got shower time. So, just thought that was funny that they were cut off by the fireworks of the second hour. These fireworks have to go off no matter what. Doesn't matter who's talking.
Yeah, fuck your promo.
If it's Flair, if it's Arn Anderson, it doesn't matter. The second hour comes unless the fireworks are going. Get out of the way.
Yeah, hell fuck you now.
All right, so hour number 2 starts. We have Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan taking over the controls at the announce table. We have the Nasty Boys defeating Public Enemy, and I cannot believe this match is still happening for the 7th month in a row. Have the Public Enemy won any of these matches? It's always a Nasty Boys going over.
Yeah, no, I had it in my notes. Again? Why are we still going with this? Put it down. Guys.
Well, the
Jesus
ending saw
Christ.
Seg tossing Rocco in the ring for an elbow drop from Knobs. He gets the 3 count, 4 minutes and 26 seconds. The Nasties do want a title shot. We don't want you to get a title shot. Please
No.
stay off our TV.
Yes, forever. I would be great if I never seen the Nasty Boys again. And I'm talking about me in 96. Held up to this day.
So Bischoff and Heenan are convinced the NWO won't show tonight because all the WCW main stars are there. They're no longer in hiding, so all the big stars are in one place, so NWO is scared. We'll see about that. The next match here, we have Chavo Guerrero Jr. defeating DDP. So this match was a decent story here. And Chavo, we saw debut a few weeks ago, first time on Nitro. Now we're seeing him with his Uncle Eddie. So they show a flashback where Chavo saved Uncle Eddie from the Diamond Cutters after being, the victim of 3, finalized with the big super one. The ending of the match was really, really good. We get Chavo countering into a backslide for a 3 count out of the Diamond Cutter. So DDP's super angry. Chavo gets the win, but of course he takes a Diamond Cutter following this, and then Page says, you know what? I'm pissed again. He pulls Nick Patrick's belt from his waist and starts to whip the crap out of Chavo. And ref Randy Anderson runs in and grabs the belt away from Page. So DDP in a little losing streak here, but a mean streak's coming out of him, and everyone's going to get a Diamond Cutter. I don't care who you are.
and Nick Patrick doing good now? By trying to stop all this bullshit.
This was not an unfortunate incident. This is just something, it's all coincidences.
His past caught up to him. He felt bad. He had to do some good karma so it didn't catch him in the ass.
So Gene Okerlund is interrogating Nick Patrick on the way to the dressing room. So again, we get more drama with the referees, and I'm okay with it. Again, it kind of expands the fourth wall a little bit, expands the universe of WCW, makes everyone feel like they have their own personality. So I'm okay with it. Oh, and also Gene mentions a $500,000 new house that Nick Patrick just bought. So where to get that money from?
with his pimp suits that he's got a closet full of.
Bobby Heenan is so convinced that Nick Patrick is an honest man. He's made his life's work being a very valuable asset to WCW's officiating crew.
Yeah, you think wrestlers get paid a lot? Those referees, man, they really get those big checks.
All right, so we have the next match here: the WCW World Tag Team Champions Harlem Heat taking on the American Males. Lead us through this, Mike Belcaster.
Listen, it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a great match. It was definitely not a long match. It was not long enough to get a full feel out of it. But listen, Bagwell looking good. The Males looking good in general. But you ain't going over the Harlem Heat, especially with these two fucking I don't even know what to call them. They're coattails, coat hangers, Sherry and Colonel Parker.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want it. I want it gone. This is the
Dingleberries, if you will. Hang on.
There
for
we
dear
go.
Life.
Absolutely, man. Best best thing you could say about him. I could not. Obviously Harlem Heat gets the win, but it was just, man, I don't know. Harlem Heat, love all day long. Get managers out of there. They don't need to be there. Booker T, great on the mic. Even Stevie Ray, great on the mic. Not the best, but decent. He could cut a promo. Way better than Hogan can right now. So
100%.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
All right, so the next match here was supposed to be Flair and Arn Anderson versus Sting and Luger, but Sting and Luger think the better of it since they've wrestled hundreds of times over the last decade. And their surprise is Sting and Luger call out Benoit and Mongo from the back as they go to commercial. And we come back and Sting explains how the biggest problem in WCW is now the New World Order. He also knows that while they will never sit down to Christmas dinner, everybody in the ring bleeds WCW, and therefore Sting and Luger are suggesting that the Horsemen, everyone put their differences aside to now side against against NWO as a solidified unit. And it does seem like it's quite improbable, but Benoit and Mongo say they will at least lead the decision up to Flair and Arn. And it looks like we've got a team. Sting, Flair, Arn, and Lex Luger versus the New World Order. And now we need to know where's the fourth man. So now we need to book that War Games match.
Yeah.
We get another announcement paid by for the New World Order. It's Hall and Nash hanging somewhere in Denver, making fun of WCW and Booty Man. And Nash had a nice quote. He said, "I gotta know what's going to happen with the Booty Babe." So So that was a nice little touch
planting
there.
those big sexy seeds right there. You know, the eyebrows. He's ready to roll. He's in full promo mode, man.
So if we were watching this live on TV, you would realize this match was never going to happen because of the fact that they were right against the hour at 10 o'clock. The Giant with Jimmy Hart versus Randy Savage never happened. Savage beats the crap out of Giant with a steel chair until the Dungeon of Doom come out and have to get him off of him. And it looks like Randy Savage has absolutely lost it again. It's only a matter of time before he's suspended. The Giant runs off after him, and we get more chaos to end the show. So Bischoff and Heenan close out the show, just talking about what's going on. So we do have a no contest to drink to. So probably the most drinks we've ever taken here on Shot Nostalgia.
V5 full fun. I'm coming for you, Giant. Yeah.
So let's take a shot of nostalgia, and I'll give you the updated Fall Brawl match for September 15th.
Ooh.
So it looks like our Fall Brawl matches for September 15th on pay-per-view. We get DDP versus Chavo Guerrero, Scott Norton versus Ice Train, the Giant versus Randy Savage, and of course that War Games match, Sting, Luger, Flair, and Arn versus the New World Order, man. So Fall Brawl is really shaping up to be a good show, and compare this to AEW and the booking, they're still a month out, more than a month out from Fall Brawl, and they have 4 matches, their main event match set in stone, ready to go.
Got to sell tickets, Daddy. One thing Bischoff got, you got to sell those tickets. I think AEW just kind of sells tickets.
True.
No matter what, you know, so they don't really have to worry about that, which I guess is the reasoning behind it. So, we just cracked the code.
Which leads us in. We need a big chaser because we need to make sure we cleanse our palate and talk about our favorite parts of these 3 nights of wrestling.
Yeah.
As usual, we use this time to talk about our favorite parts of the 3 nights of wrestling. You could pick one thing, Mike Belcaster, from the show. What would you say was your favorite part?
I'm just going to pick not a thing. Well, they are things, but Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio, not just the match, but going across all 3 shows. They have stand-up performances all across the board. Fucking left me hanging and want more. You can't ask for 2 better workers.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly, and I would say that would be definitely up there for me, what I enjoyed most about the show. I also enjoyed the 3 shows in a row of chaotic endings, and I hope we're on a run here where we get nothing but chaotic endings, because that's when wrestling's at its best. That's when WCW was leaving you on the edge of your seat, making you tune in with those cliffhangers, and they are doing it masterfully at this point. You don't know what's going to happen here. It's just absolutely helter-skelter. It's chaotic nature in WCW, and they are definitely riding that lightning bolt right now, and it feels like we're right in the mix of something that's a golden age of wrestling and booking.
Hell yeah.
All right, those are 2 favorite parts of Nitro. Let's close the tab. The bar lights are coming on. Let's preview the next week of WCW Shot Nostalgia 1996. All right, so before we go, give us some things to hype up on the tavern. I know you guys did that unboxing for that Mattel Arena. I know we got some big things coming up. We do have, before I let you go for this, Shot of Nostalgia, episode 20, 2 episodes of Nitro, just 2 episodes, August 26th and September 2nd. We're almost in alignment. Next week, our episode will almost be completely lined up with where we're at with Nitro. And as you can see, a little bit of a spoiler alert of who the guy is who joins the New World Order. So big stuff ahead here. We got the debut of the shirt as well. So
yes,
turnbuckletavern.com. What's going on, Mike Belcaster?
Listen, man, aside from all of our awesome shows that we do every single night basically here on the tavern, except for weekends, because we're all human. We got to have some time off here. Next week's Fig Night, we're going to be doing like a little all out kind of special, maybe a fan fest. We might be walking around the crowd like the bad guys, like the outsiders, hanging out. We'll be doing some fun stuff. You're going to be in town. Tom's going to be in town. We're going to have a very, very, very exciting week here at the tavern with all of our shenanigans. It's going to be great. Can't wait for next week's week of wrestling with you guys. I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, man, stay tuned. You never know where we're going to pop up. You never know who's going to pop up. You never know what we're going to do, brother. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Tune in, www.theturnbuckletavern.com. Get your fix like we do right there.
And guys, you heard it. Mike Belcaster said it best. If you're not following the turnbuckletavern.com, what are you doing? At Turnbuckle Tavern on Instagram, Turnbuckle Tavern, subscribe and like us on YouTube. Join the bandwagon before we get too big to let you on, because we're going places, man. But we do got to go places. We are out of time. We have to go. They're saying in my ear, Eric Bischoff is screaming at me. Thanks for watching Shot of Nostalgia, guys. Make sure to respect your history. Tip your bartenders. We'll see you next week.